25th Sunday in Ordinary Time.
A reading from the Book of Wisdom. The wicked say, "Let us beset the just one, because he is obnoxious to us. He sets himself against our doings, reproaches us for transgressions of the law, and charges us with violations of our training. Let us see whether his words be true. Let us find out what will happen to him. For if the just one be the Son of God, God will defend him and deliver him from the hand of his foes. With revilement and torture, let us put the just one to the test, that we may have proof of his gentleness and try his patience. Let us condemn him to a shameful death, for, according to his own words, God will take care of him." The word of the Lord.
And by your might defend my cause. O God, hear my prayer, hearken to the words of my mouth. The Lord upholds my life, the Lord upholds my life. For the haughty have risen up against me, the ruthless seek my life. They set not God before their eyes. The Lord upholds my life. The Lord upholds my life. Behold, God is my helper. The Lord sustains my life. Freely will I offer you sacrifice. I will praise your name, O Lord, for its goodness. The Lord upholds my life. The Lord upholds my life.
A reading from the letter of St. James. Beloved, where jealousy and selfish ambition exist, there is disorder and every foul practice. But the wisdom from above is first of all pure, then peaceable, gentle, compliant, full of mercy and good fruits, without inconstancy or insincerity. And the fruit of righteousness is sown in peace for those who cultivate peace. Where do the wars and where do the conflicts among you come from? Is it not from your passions that make war within your members? You covet, but do not possess. You kill and envy, but you cannot obtain. You fight and wage war. You do not possess because you do not ask. You ask, but do not receive, because you ask wrongly, to spend it on your passions. The word of the Lord.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. Jesus and his disciples left from there and began a journey through Galilee, but he did not wish anyone to know about it. He was teaching his disciples and telling them, "The Son of Man is to be handed over to men, and they will kill him. And 3 days after his death, the Son of Man will rise." But they did not understand the saying, and they were afraid to question him. They came to Capernaum, and once inside the house he began to ask them, "What were you arguing about on the way?" But they remained silent. They had been discussing among themselves on the way who was the greatest. Then he sat down, called the 12, and said to them, "If anyone wishes to be first, he shall be the last of all and the servant of all." Taking a child, he placed it in their midst, and putting his arms around it, he said to them, "Whoever receives one child such as this in my name receives me, and whoever receives me receives not me, but the one who sent me." The Gospel of the Lord.
The 25th Sunday at Ordinary Time. The first reading comes from the Book of Wisdom, chapter 2, verse 12, and 17 to 20. Remember, the Book of Wisdom is one of those books that you find in the Catholic and Orthodox canon, but you don't find accepted by the Jews or the Protestants. The reason for that is that the only version of the Book of Wisdom that we have is written in Greek, not in Hebrew or Aramaic. And the Jews at the Council of Jamnia, sometime around 80 to 90 AD, made the decision that only those books written in Hebrew or Aramaic would be accepted into their canon. Christians continued to use this book until the days of Martin Luther, when Martin Luther decided that we should use the Hebrew canon for the Old Testament. And that's a bit odd because Jesus makes allusions to this book and the other 6 books which we call deuterocanonical, which means canonical at a second time, as opposed to what the Protestants call these books, the Apocrypha. Well, anyways, the message of this book is that the evil people are fighting against virtuous people. They decide to abuse them, to make it difficult for them because they can't stand their goodness. They can't stand the idea that God might bless them in a special way. Therefore, they're going to put God to the test. They're going to see if God protects his chosen ones, fully expecting that God will do nothing. The wicked people, it's not that they don't believe in God, but rather they believe that God is so distant that he has nothing to do with this world. This is a preparation for our Gospel today, which is from Mark 9, 30 to 37. Last Sunday we heard the first prediction of the Passion in the Gospel of Mark. Today we hear the second prediction of the Passion. Jesus says the Son of Man will be delivered into the hands of men. They will put him to death, and 3 days after he has been put to death, he will rise again. So that passage from Wisdom prepares us for the idea of the suffering and death of the virtuous one, Jesus. And what is the response of the disciples? Similar to what happened last week when Peter said, "Don't say this to others," and Jesus had to say, "Get behind me, Satan." Jesus looks back at the disciples in this passage and he sees they're talking to each other. When he says, "What were you talking about?" they have this funny look on their face like deer caught in headlights, because they've been talking about who was the most important among them. Jesus calls a child in their midst, and this is not the passage that says that we have to become like little children. This is the passage that says we have to serve children. What is the meaning of it? Children can't pay us back. If we serve a millionaire, then we might be left in the will. If we serve a politician, then we might get a good job, a good appointment. But if we serve children, they can't really pay us back. And that's okay, because the reason we're serving them is to express our love, not to get something in return. By the way, this is the way that we should be serving the Lord as well. Not thinking about ourselves, not thinking about our profit, but rather giving of ourselves. It's not what we can get out of it, it's what we can give. He also says, "Whoever welcomes a child in my name welcomes me." That if we welcome the innocent ones, the gentle ones, the peaceful ones, then we will truly be one with Jesus. The second reading is from James 3:16 to 4:3. It talks about the interior dispositions of people, and that's where jealousy and ambition and warfare come from. People who become jealous of each other, who want more, who are resentful of the fact that others have received what they think they deserve. This leads to partiality. This leads to hypocrisy. Who is a true Christian? A peacemaker. One who is so at peace in his heart that he shares that peace with others around him. Otherwise, we'll be spending our entire life trying to accrue material possessions, trying to be the most popular among our circle. Those things will only lead us to misery because we'll never feel we truly accomplished it. It's only when we ask for less, when we're satisfied with the little we have, that we will find true peace. And may God bless us.